Hi, I'm Jeff, Customer Success Manager at GoPinLeads. We're nearly ready to begin our webinar for today, Genius Hacks to Boost Your Cold Outreach. We're just going to allow a couple more moments for people to arrive. If you're still watching on the Goodman Lantern GoPinLeads website, please do go ahead and click on the YouTube window you're watching in. When you've done that, go ahead and click on the YouTube logo. That will launch into YouTube itself, and you'll be able to comment, much like Carlos already has in the comments. I'm very glad to see you here, Carlos, ready and rearing to go. Very nice to have you here. Where are you at the moment, Carlos? Pop us a comment there to let us know where in the world you're coming from. And anyone else who's watching, let us know where you're from and what you hope to get out of the session today. So while we're waiting for the last few latecomers to join in, I'll tell you where I am. At the moment, I find myself in a small fishing village near Cape Town, South Africa. If I look out the window in front of me, there's a sweeping view of the bay, and occasionally, far off in the distance in the water, you can see whales jumping because this is their yearly breeding ground. It's very, very beautiful part of the world. And if you ever are here, I recommend you come and look at the whales. Absolutely gorgeous. We've got a comment from Sick Dub Flow out of Bucharest, Romania. And they're looking for good hacks to boost outreach. And Sick Dub Flow, you are in the perfect place if that's what you're after. So, genius hacks to boost your cold outreach. We're at 3 minutes past the hour. If you're still watching on the GoPinLeads website, click on the window that you're watching this in and click on the YouTube logo. That will boost the video through to YouTube's website itself. You'll be able to watch in YouTube and interact in the comments like Carlos and Sick Dub Flow. That's a really cool username. I like it. I like it a lot, Sick Dub Flow. I was just looking at your profile picture. It looks like an insanely cool hairstyle. Really nice. Okay, so let's get into it. Genius hacks to boost your cold outreach. So there are a few aspects of this that people are unsure of still today in this day and age. After all these years of having cold emails being a thing, as we say, people are still unsure as to why we should be using email. I suppose it's because social media is such a big thing these days that a lot of people don't really understand why we're still bothering with email. Well, here's why. Email is almost 40 times more effective than Facebook and Twitter combined in helping a business acquire new customers. This gives it a median ROI of 122%. That's huge. So think about the success you can get from Twitter. Think about the success you can get from Facebook. Combine them, yeah, and multiply it by 40. So that is the level of success you can achieve really quickly, really rapidly, in a measured way. And the best part about it all is it's cheaper free. You know, it's really cool. So if you are right now still watching on the GoPinLeads website, I would love it if you would click on the window that you're watching in. That'll allow you to launch the video through into YouTube's website natively, and you'll be able to interact in the comments. You'll be able to talk to me, ask questions about anything I haven't been clear on, and we can go from there. Always here, always ready to help you. Please do let me know if you have any questions in the comments on YouTube. Always ready to go there. All right. I'm monitoring your comments the entire time we're going along, and I'm going to dive straight in. So, email prospecting. On the previous slide, I told you it has probably the highest ROI for any marketing channel. It'll cost you no more than a few dollars a month and offers one of the fastest results. I'm going to show you why, how, and the whole process in this webinar. I'm going to expose the whole story to you. But for now, not everybody knows how to use emails effectively. This is an important distinction. You could send out 3,000 emails. That would be a good month. But if you did that in a way it wasn't best practices, if you did it in a way that was unappealing, if you did it in a way that made people not want to talk to you and start a conversation, then those are serious hours that you've wasted. So this webinar is designed to help you with this last point. How do you email effectively? How do you know if you're emailing effectively? How do you know how you can improve? These are all valid questions, and they're all questions we're going to show you the answers to today. And again, ask me questions in the comments. If you can't see the comments, you're watching on the GoPinLeads website. So click on the video you're watching. There's a little YouTube logo. Poke the YouTube logo, click on it, and you'll be able to launch the video through to YouTube and interact in the comments, much like Carlos and Sick Dubflow. This is the growth marketing process. You start small. Focus on your local area. The reason we do this is because, as the old adage goes, do what you know. Start locally. In South Africa, the locals say local is lekker. Do they have a saying that promotes locality where you are? So if they do, drop it in the comments. Test absolutely everything. Measure your success and learn from your mistakes and replicate your successes. Obviously, you wouldn't replicate your mistakes, and then you start over again. Now, I know I'd like a bat out of hell, but the reason for that is that there's a practical section that is a lot more valuable that I'm going to be going through with you in this same webinar. So hang on for that. But let's talk about these 6 just briefly. We talked about starting small. Testing is built into what I'm going to be showing you today. You don't have to worry about testing. The tools will take care of that for you to a great extent. Interpretation is up to you, but I'll give you some guidelines on that to make your life just so much easier. Knowing how to read things is absolutely key to getting things right. Measure your success. So again, that goes off of testing. The results that you get, you'll know what worked, learn from your mistakes, you'll know what didn't work. Replicating your successes will allow you to refine everything you're doing, and then you start over again. This is always going to be a repetitive process. Getting leads, sending emails, it's always going to be a part of your sales process because it is the backbone of your sales process. So you may as well get really, really good at it really, really quickly. Before you email people, you've got to make sure that your email is worth reading. Remember the last point that we covered here. Not everyone knows how to use emails effectively. So, what do we do? The first thing you need to do is you need to plan your offer. This is key. You need to know the ins and outs, the ups and downs, and every little detail about the offer that you're going to be emailing people about. That may sound obvious. It may annoy some of you. It may bring back memories of school where you were asked to plan your essays or your pieces of writing before writing them. And a lot of people rebelled against that sort of thinking, and that's fine in a school setting, I suppose. Rebellion's part of youth. But here, you really do need that plan. You need to plan your offer, and the reason for that is you need to know what it includes and what it excludes, what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do. That's the absolute basic black and white scenario of what you need to think about. But there's a lot more to it as well. Go deeper. Will it interest them? How do you know if it will interest them? Well, if you start in your local area, you have a real good idea, if you're active in your community, what people are struggling with, what people are interested in, what people are talking about. Virality comes to mind. So virality is something that a lot of people don't understand. They think that to go viral, it's only when Jimmy Fallon posts a hashtag and everybody responds. But realistically, virality, sure, that is one example. But going big in a small area, if you can go viral in one town, that's where you want to be just to begin with. So figure out what interests people and play on that. This is all going to lead into your greater strategy down the line. You need to know what this is worth to them. What do I mean? What do you mean, Jeff? What do you mean, what is it worth to them? Well, if you look at the point below that, it covers value. So these are two very different points. I'm going to go through worth first. Now, to me, what's it worth to them? You can measure worth in hours. You can measure worth in money. So we all know that old adage, time is money, money is time. But you need to realize that those are tied into worth. So what this is worth to them will be how much money is it saving them? How much time in the day is it saving them? And all of those have a monetary value. So you really need to know this. What's it worth to them? If you know that, you know what the sort of extrapolated worth would be. You know exactly what you are going to be giving these people and what the monetary gain will be for them in time or actual cash. I'm not saying you're giving money away, of course, but this offer is going to save them so much time and money that it's almost going to be like you have. Then, why is it valuable? This is more about emotions, lifestyle, and these sort of subtler values. So why is it valuable? Are they going to be able to imagine their portfolios with 5 extra sales a month? 10 extra sales a month? What would that mean for them on a target basis? What would that mean on a lifestyle basis? What could they do for their partners? What could they do for their offspring? You've got to realize that every piece of value that you give to somebody has a knock-on effect, and you want it to be a positive one, and you want it to be something that's tangible, that they can think back on. If you can make them reminisce about something that you've done for them, that's the absolute ideal. But always remember that none of this should cost you very much, if anything at all. There is a free way to do everything I'm showing you today. If you do want bulk emails going out every day, bulk leads being captured every day, then you need to spend a little bit of money, but it's very marginal, and there's always scalability, ways to do it small, medium, and large, whatever your needs are right now. And of course, like I mentioned, and like we always promise, there is a free factor as well. Before we dive on, I want to just let you ponder these. Please, in the comments, send me any questions that you have. If you ask me 100 questions, I'll be 100 times happier, put it that way. Go absolutely crazy. Interaction is amazing. This is not one of those horrible webinars where we throw people out for not interacting. This is simply for your benefit. It is a richer, deeper experience for you if you ask questions, because then I can really get down to deeper detail with you. And if it's a detail that's too deep for this, I'll be giving you my email address after this so we can talk and come to grips with what you need. So if you're confused by that and you don't know where the comments section is, that means you're more than likely watching on the GoPinLeads website. In that case, I encourage you to click on the YouTube logo in the YouTube window that you're watching and listening to me in. That'll launch the video through to YouTube, and you'll be able to see the comments that other people have left, Carlos and SickDub Flow, as well as interact with me, ask me anything you want. Okay, so jumping into this. Here's some ideas. So these ideas are to pique interest. These ideas are to make people want to talk to you. But before we get into these ideas, I'm going to go to the comments because SickDubFlow, absolute legend, has sent in a question. What are the most important personalization fields in an email, and what should you do to make it as human as possible? SickDubFlow, that is an amazing question. Not enough people ask that. You're really, really on the right track. You're thinking on an honest human level. That excites me. So I'm going to show you the exact answers to that in just a little bit, especially in the practical section, SickDubFlow. So stick around for that, and all of your questions will be answered. Absolute. And hi to Kathy Kainz. I hope I'm pronouncing your surname properly. If I'm not, I do apologize. But hey, Kathy, glad to have you here. If you have anyone else you think would benefit from this, a salesperson that you are excited about or would like to get a bit of mentoring for, then get them onto this. Cold emailing is a great way to go. And we're going to dive into this list of ideas. Ah, cool, Kathy. I'm glad I got that right. All right. So the ideas. So how are you going to make people care about your emailing campaign? Well, your content. That's the whole backbone of everything you're going to be doing. So your content, you need a hot burning topic. That sounds very salesy, it sounds very nonsensy, but let's make it real. So hot burning topics basically are very real and they're all around you. If you look in the tabloid magazines, they are filled with them. If you look in the business pages, it is filled with them. Newspapers, online blogs, absolutely everything is filled to the brim with hot burning topics. And those are some of the most important of all of, the content out there because they get the most likes. So for you, what's the hot burning topic? Is there something that's recently come out in your industry? For all of us, a similarity across the board is GDPR, which I'll be touching on a bit later. GDPR is a hot burning topic. It's affecting people, it's confusing people, and it's frightening people. It doesn't have to. It's very simple. We'll cover that in a moment. But it's a hot burning topic. If you follow the way of thinking of getting people's interest about something that is real, really matters, and gets their attention, that is really where you want to be. In the comments, we have our chief lantern, Raj, letting SickDubFlow know some of the answers there, which is always great to see. Welcome and very nice to see you here, Chief. Small salute that you can't see me do. Number 2, join our community. So joining a community is not only what some people like to use it as. It's not to trap people into your little marketing ring. Not the case at all. So you want to make people join your community because it allows them to interact with you, interact with other people who use your product. Together you can make it bigger, you can make it better. You can find out lateral sort of pathways that people have thought up to answer questions. So it's a powerful thing to do. It makes you definitely step into your value to a greater extent as a professional, but it also allows you to really get a good measure of what people are interested in right now. It could very easily feed into number 1, your hot burning topic. You could get the ideas for that from your groups. You need to join communities of your own, but important, set up your own. Get people in there and really encourage people to interact with you in those communities. Okay? Those communities' value lies in their interaction. Not only their size, but in the amount of interaction. and how quickly questions are answered, how quickly other people get around to them as well. It's all about community. That's where the real value lies. Free trial, that is a fantastic way to give people a taste of what you can do and what the value and quality of what you can do actually is. So, knowing what you can give away without costing yourself a hell of a lot of money is where you need to go. It shouldn't be costing you very much. Like I said, it shouldn't cost you very much, if anything, but the free trial is going to do a lot for you. For example, you have a service where you offer potentially research content. People need that service. You give them a free trial to experience your quality. They don't lose anything. They get a tangible example of your worth as a company, and they get a tangible example of the kind of outputs that you do. And they also get something that they can use. The ideal scenario there with your free trial is that they get something they can use. You know, if there is a piece of content that you can give them within a short period that doesn't cost you very much, that gives them what they want as well, a free trial is a great way to go. Fantastic value there. So join webinars. We do these obviously because you're on one now. Webinars are really powerful. And, you know, webinars are split down the middle, I suppose, out of the ones that are out there. So what I mean by that is some of them are very salesy. Some of them are very hard salesy as well, where you have a very, very big dramatic sales pitch and a countdown timer, and that's valid. That is valid. That's not what we're doing here today. There's literally no sales pitch here. This is literally us showing you the tools we use. One of the tools is ours, but that's because we built a tool we needed. I'll get into that later, but this idea of a webinar is really where you want to be. Webinars allow you to, like I am now, staring at a screen with comments from Jean, Sick Dubflow, Kathy, and our own Chief Lantern, and I can really, as I go along, see how you're reacting, see where your head's at, and see what questions you need the answers to. This allows me to really give you all of me as a person for this hour that we're together, but it also allows me to show you the best way forward and do it in a way that is relevant to you right now. That's why every webinar will be different. Every single webinar has a different set of values because every single webinar has a different audience. It's really, really helpful. So webinars give you a major gauge, like your communities, on your viewers, on your users, on your subscribers, whatever the case is. It's a great thing to do, and I encourage you to do it. But remember your hot burning topic. Remember your relevance. Okay, so then event invitation is a bit deeper than that. While a webinar is an example of an event, if you think about it laterally, you can also do face-to-face events in your area. You don't have to fly to Vegas and host an enormous conference. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. You can do in your local community hall a live event. Small scale, grassroots, like we said, start in your local community. It'd be really good if you could get your local community into your Facebook community. You know, if you get the support of your local people, make them love you, you become a local legend. Virality, it all leads into each other. You've just got to think honestly, humbly, and on a human level. That's where it all is. That's where your success lies. Okay, so event invitations are not only live invitations. You can do Q&As. You can do Instagram lives, you can do Facebook lives, you can do lives on Twitter, you can do any type of event. Seriously, you could live stream other events. You could give your opinion on things. Event invitations are very broad and they're up to your interpretation, but it's up to you to make it an event. Drop me a comment if you can give me examples of a non-event. So a non-event would be something that is simply not really that valuable or something that really is a bit of a disappointment. That's what you want to avoid, okay? So any non-event type things you want to avoid. You want to make this valuable. You want to make this real and relevant to the people who are joining you, because really, if you're honest about it, they've given you your time, they've given you of their day. And like we said, time is money. If you are here, I value each and every one of you, which is why I want you to reach out in the comments and drop any questions that you have. Any comments that you have, I will read out loud, as long as they're not rude. If you're still watching on the GoPinLeads website, you may be wondering what I'm talking about. Where do you comment? If you click on the YouTube logo within the video window that you're watching, it'll launch the video through to YouTube's website itself. Then you can interact in the comments. Okay, so digital gifts, let's have a look at that. So digital gifts are something you can send via email or via link, via Dropbox, via whatever medium you choose, but it's online, okay? Digital gift is something that's going to make them happy. You don't want to give a bad gift. I mean, think about Christmas morning. Think about literally any holiday that you happen to celebrate. If you do choose to celebrate a holiday, think about birthdays potentially. Think about things like Valentine's Day. Just any kind of occasion when you're given or you're giving a gift. You want it to instill a certain positive feeling in that person. You don't want it to be a disappointment. You don't want it to feel impersonal or like they can't use it or like they're going to have to sneakily return it in the morning. So it's the same here. You're emailing people. You have the audacity to interrupt their day. It's really wise to know what is valuable to them. It's really wise to know what's going to make them click that. And once they've clicked it, what's going to make them glad they did. So your digital gift, if you are a company that produces databases, give one away. Make sure it's a really, really, really good one and give it away. Give it away to people who need leads like the ones you have in your database. If you have a database of car dealerships, I wouldn't necessarily give it to a publishing house because there's a sort of mismatch with value there. But you need to think about what you can give digitally of what you offer. If you're a design firm, you can give away a design. You can give away design, a business card design. You can give away a tattoo design if you're a tattoo shop. There's 100 different things that you can do. Corporate shirt company, you can give away a free corporate shirt logo design. You don't have to give the shirt. You can just send them the logo. These are very valuable things that would otherwise have cost them money, and you can really give value to them that way. It's potential to go really safe by giving them something like a database that would be really useful. You can also push the envelope and try and be a bit more explorative with this and see how you can get people's attention. Before we move on to number 7 and 8, Kathy has dropped a comment here. So avoiding spam folders, Kathy says, I find these are sent to spam or folks are reluctant to open. What are the best ways to avoid the spam folder? So the first thing you need to come to peace with in your mind is that, Kathy, you're going to sometimes land in the spam folder with some people. So there's going to be a proportion with every campaign that don't open, who don't click, who don't respond. That is always going to be the case. You can't always catch all the fish, but to avoid the spam folder, try not to send too many emails a day, right? These numbers change quite frequently on the advised amounts and also on how you're doing your campaign. With the method we're doing today, on the free level, you'll be absolutely fine. There shouldn't be hitting any high level. You shouldn't be hitting any high level amounts of emails there. But what you really want to make sure is that you're sending things that are of value. So if people report you as spam because they don't find any value or they don't find any use in what you're sending out, or if they're annoyed potentially by some people's tone, there's 100 different reasons that people might not want to read your email, but you always want to avoid being flagged as spam. Are there words to avoid? Look, I would say anything that's too pushy, not necessarily single words, but phrases that are too pushy, too hard selly. People generally, and there are industries where there's an exception, of course, but in my experience, in my opinion, generally people are turned off a sale by a hard sell. If you jump down their throats straight off the bat, it's really not a good look. What I would say is we're going to cover a bit more about the emails in detail later. But what I would say, Kathy, is send them an email, preliminary email that introduces you, introduces what you do, and asking if they see themselves fitting into something like that. In many ways, it's a safer way to go, but at the same time, it's not only safe, it's also got an edge of cheekiness to it because you're testing the waters before you jump in. You're allowing them to interact with you honestly, which I feel is very important personally. Honest interactions are always going to give you the best response. So try that. So Kathy, I hope that answers your question. Any specific words to avoid? There aren't specific words I'd say no, avoid, but I would say any tone, any phrasing that sounds really hammer blow salesy, try and avoid that. Okay, so moving on to number 7, and please, Kathy, anyone else want to ask a question, drop me a comment there, and I will definitely answer. Kathy, if I have not answered your question, jump in the comments. Always, always, always ask. Happy to answer. So number 7, top 100 list. This is another thing that you can give away. I mentioned tabloids earlier, so things like magazines that cover celebrities and that sort of thing. They do top 100s a lot, and that's probably the most familiar type of top 100s that you know about. But think about it a bit deeper as well. You can also do top 20s, top 50s, top 100s, top 200s, whatever the case is that is relevant to your list. Top 100 sounds good. It's a good number, and it allows you to really, over 100 entries, you can really gauge the sort of grading of your judgment process in that. If you're doing one that's in order, so a number 1 spot, a number 2 spot, a number 3 spot, all the way down to a number 100 spot, that allows you to really rank things specifically over the course of 100. So yeah, there's value there because you're a bit more accurate. So top 100 list could be Forbes, top 100 earners, top 100 companies, could be any type of top 100 list. But you've got to think about your niche. You've got to think about the people you're emailing, and you've got to make real sure that they're going to want to know about that top 100 list. You can't send a list of the top 100 celebrities to somebody who couldn't care about celebrities. That's the rub. You've got to make sure that it is real, relevant, and that you are always making sure that they smile. Make their lives easier. At the very least, give them something interesting to read. So the last one in this list, there's a lot more ideas than this, but this is an example, is a 30-minute free consultation. So this would be a call with yourself or with one of your consultants where they are able to really get value, advice, helpfulness from you on the fly. That's what you want. You want to make sure that people can pick up the phone, book a call with you, use booking software, whichever one you prefer, and get people on the phone. You don't always have to sell super hard to these people because they will tell you, if they've asked for a call, they'll tell you what they're struggling with. And that is a big benefit because when you know what they're struggling with, you can start talking to them about it, suggesting ways that you could help, tell stories. That's where your real value on a call lies. So people are getting on a call with you more than likely for reassurance. So if you can tell a story that reassures them, that's what you want to do. Even if you don't end up selling something to them, you've given them value and you've given them an example of how it can be valuable. You've given them a working example of how things can be better. So it's a really, really, really good way to go. Your 30-minute free consultation is hugely powerful. Some of the best salespeople I know simply use these consultations to tell stories and give advice. People will come back to you because they'll remember how helpful you were and they'll remember your professionalism. That is the long game. You can, of course, go salesy with your 30-minute free consultations. It's up to you. It's up to you. It's up to who you're contacting. It's up to what works. It is definitely something you can test, and I'm going to show you how in the practical section. Okay, we've got a question from SickDubFlow. You talked in the other webinar about email automation and using YAM. What other tools do you use for email automation, like openings and tracking? So there are a number of different tools out there. In the webinar, we cover YAM because it is a really great way to go. It's got a really good level on the free side, and it gives you a really good introduction into the whole process. Very little outlay, very little complication as well. So just to get into your question though, because I said I would answer every single question, there are other tools that you can use. Now, these are obviously not all recommended by us. I'm not going to tell you which ones we do recommend and which ones we don't, but there are, of course, YAM alternatives, things like Quokka, things like SendPulse, things like MailBlast Sendout. These are all examples of alternatives to YAM. There are a ton of them. You can, if you drop into Google alternatives to YAM, YAMM, as you know, there are lots of different ones out there. We just really stand by YAM because we feel that's really one of the best ones you can do. If you want more details on something like that, SickDubFlow, I'm going to give you my email address just after the webinar. Please stick around for that. Drop me an email. I'm getting the sense that you have a lot of questions that you would like to work on. Maybe we can jump on a call after the webinar sometime this week to discuss this further. So I'll be giving you my email address at the end of this webinar, and that's open to anyone who's watching today. You're going to have my email address, and I'm only giving it to you because I want you to use it realistically. So yeah, you'll have my email address. Send me an email. Let's start a conversation, and we can either jump on a call. I can record a Loom video if that's easier. We can always have a conversation in some way. So yeah, absolutely stick around to the end, and we'll have a chat on email or somehow. Okay, so this is the process. This is getting into it now. So this is just before the practical section, and this is something that is going to make sure that you are fully prepared for your outreach campaign. So step 1, find email addresses. I'll show you a tool for that. Step 2, draft emails. Step 3, create email templates. Email templates let you match your emails to your list. And that goes back to Kathy's question there. No, sorry, SickDubFlow's question. My bad. About personalization. SickDubFlow, listen up because your personalization details are coming up now. Then landing page. Develop a landing page. Then analyze data and rinse and repeat. Like I mentioned earlier, you're always going to be doing this over and over again. It's an iterative process. It's a repetitive process. It never ends. It only ends when you stop selling. Let's dive in. So step 1, find email addresses. And like I said, this is a tool that we have developed. It's called GoPinLeads. And you know this because you've come to us from the GoPinLeads website more than likely. And this is going to be a great way for you to really get your teeth into a simple and very inexpensive way. There's also a cheap free level to find yourself leads. So GoPinLeads, I'm going to tell you a little bit about why and how with GoPinLeads. Why did we make it? We had a client who needed to get a ton of leads across the entire USA, and they needed it to be keyword specific, location specific, and they needed it really, really fast. So we always want to be helpful. We always want to be efficient, and we always want to save people money. So as you can imagine, getting a big team up to do this as fast as needed to be done would have been very expensive. We thought laterally and developed a tool. The tool we developed was GoPinLeads, and what it does is it gets you the leads you need from the places you need them. So gives you company and individual emails. It gives you phone numbers. It gives you employee job titles, social media accounts. It gives you company addresses. It gives you so much, and it really is hugely valuable in getting you everything you need in your lead gen process. Okay, so I'm going to show you exactly how you can use GoPinLeads and all of these other tools in the practical section of this webinar, but for now we're going to go through this theory section really fast. This is setting up your email. So YAM, now this is something that was brought up in the comments just a second or two ago by SickDubFlow. So this is YAM. YAM is yet another mail merge. YAM is a great tool because it allows you to get into your lists, email inboxes in a personalized way. So what you want to do is you can use your domain or you can create a new one, sign up to YAM. It links your Google Docs, so your Google Sheets, with your Gmail draft. It also has great tools to let you measure your campaign. I know this is very vague, but you'll see in great detail in the practical section of this webinar. So here we go. Creating an email template. This, as I said, is going to allow you to do that personalization very quickly, very easily. And SickDubFlow, this is where you're going to be winning really hard with this. So subject line, keep it brief, keep it vague. It needs to be relevant to what you're doing, but you don't want to give the whole game away right out of the subject line. The reason being, you want them to open the email. You don't want them to know what's going on straight from the subject line. Some of you may have watched talks in the past where you know after the introduction that the speaker is giving what his endpoint is going to be. That kills interest immediately. So avoid that. Be brief, be vague. Sorry for the stutter. And then we'll move on to what is the message. This might sound really basic, but it comes down to the planning processes we were talking about earlier. You need to know what your message is very specifically. And you need to word this as if it's coming from a friend, which kind of goes back to what I was talking about with you, Kathy, when we were talking about ways to avoid the spam folder. So the tone of your email is hugely important with this, Kathy. So you want to make sure that my apologies, there seemed to be a glitch there. So Kathy, you want to make sure that the tone of your email is if it's from a friend. Now, we don't mean false closeness. We don't mean be too annoying, too cloying, too, as they say, buddy with these people. But you want to make sure that you're not coming across as sort of too formal. It's off-putting because people feel like they're being talked at to a great extent. Rather look at the tone of your email. If I was to compare the tone of your email to an everyday interaction, try and make the tone of your email like it would be if you were trying to start a conversation with someone that you found genuinely interesting. You know, people respond well to that approach. People respond well to being honored. People respond well to being spoken with instead of being spoken to, if you catch my meaning. So you want to make sure that you're approaching them on a human level, which is something I personally hugely believe in and stress very strongly in my webinars. A human approach is really what's going to get their attention, because there's a lot of automatic, horrible sales systems out there that alienate salespeople from the rest of the population, even though we all sell every day. It alienates us even from other salespeople, because these things, those automated calls where there's a beep and then there's a few seconds and then the consultant comes on because now you've answered, that sort of thing drives people wild. So if you can approach people from a completely different angle and be the fresh breath of air in their sales, then that is going to be your winning stance. The world in general is moving into a space of being a little more honest, being a little bit more helpful. So I would really recommend going along with that trend and trying your hardest to give value every time you talk to anyone. Be valuable, be honest, and generous if you can. Okay, so keep it short though. You don't want to tell them about your auntie's holiday in Mallorca. You want to just tell them what the message is, ask them if they're interested, keep it friendly, but keep it short as well. Long emails are off-putting. People sometimes just close them, and I'll show you how to know if that's happening to your emails in the next section. So also include a link. The whole reason that you're contacting these people is to get them to engage. What do you want from this email campaign? Do you want them to reply? Do you want them to type a reply? Do you want them to click through and put their details in a form? Do you want them to subscribe to something? Do you want them to book a call with you? If you want any of these things, you need to have a link in your email, because you need them to be able to have something to action. You will have a call to action, and then you need to have an action for them to take. So have a link. We, in this example that you see on your screen, have used a text-based link because it allows you to say what the link does without including the whole long link. I would advocate avoiding, like the plague, any form of link shortener, because people don't really trust that. They feel like it might be dodgy or leading to something that they didn't expect. The beauty is of the blue link, the text link, the link that describes itself. You can describe the link, first benefit. The second benefit is if they mouse over, or if they copy the link address with the right mouse button if you're on Windows, then really what they can do is they can look at the link, look at the URL, and see that it's trustworthy before they go there. It just shows that you're willing to be transparent. It might be a sort of mind trick to some people, but it is a really good way to get people to know that you're not going to hide anything, even links. Okay, so let's get a little deeper into this email situation. There's big value. There's big value in banners. Big value in banners. So here you can see one that says glpro.email, experts. So that shows you that we're experts in email, and it shows you how to contact us just below it. Now, it's very basic. There's not much going on there, but it is very helpful. It's attention grabbing. People will go to it. People will click on it. It'll action to a link. I'll talk more about link differences later. Also, you want to localize it, like in point number 2. Put in addresses. Where are you based? Where are your offices around the world? Give them your addresses. Give them your phone numbers. Give them everything they need. Develop variations of this. Measure what works. Measure what doesn't. Always include an unsubscribe option, and make sure that you do that. That is so important. Without an unsubscribe option, it annoys people. It annoys people a lot, and people are less likely to unsubscribe if you put in an unsubscribe button. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it just shows that you're a genuine entity and that you are really willing to go along with people and interact with them on a real basis. So also, here we go about the links. Include a graphic link like like you would with a banner. You can make your banner clickable, so if they click on the picture, it goes out to a website. You can also do text-based links. So a text-based link would be like all the telephone numbers you see on your screen there, or the unsubscribe button. All of those are text-based. They're useful, they're all valuable, they all have their place. You don't want to fill your email with images and make them all graphic links, because then your email will load slowly and your receivers will hate you for it because it just bogs up their whole inbox. Dimension. Dimension is something that is very important because it's down to readability. Aesthetics are important, very important. Make sure that it's all the same font, the same editing, the same formatting all the way through. Make it uniform. You can't have an unprofessional looking email. And if your template's bad, if your signature's bad, you really need to go in and address those to make sure that you're addressing any shortfall, because anything that's ugly, anything that's unreadable or hard on the eyes, people are going to want to click away. So the follow-up is also massively important with any outreach campaign. You want to do one follow-up email per campaign. Again, going back to your question, Kathy, best way to avoid being spammy is to really limit the number of times you email one person, especially if you're not getting any responses. Just hammering away at someone's email address and them not opening, not reading, not interacting, it's a good way to seem spammy. So what you'll want to do is you'll want to do one follow-up email per campaign. Remind them about the deadline. Provide them with the link again. Give them another opportunity, but put that link in. Put the deadline in. Do it. Bold it. Put it in there. It's important, because they're not going to go back to the other email to get the scoop again. You need to put it in this one. You need to be brief. You need to say, oi, jump now. It's going away. Your window is closing. Jump at this opportunity. It's important. Trust me. So your landing page. This is another way to really push things forward. The page. You can use HTML. You can build one yourself, or you can use a tool. Tools, in my opinion, are really what you want to use, because you're going to be doing testing. Maybe you want to try different versions of this landing page. Maybe you want to, change it really easily, really quickly. Use a tool like LaunchRock or Instapage. They'll give you a really professional looking landing page, and it'll give you the best opportunity to have dynamic changeability and all of those sorts of good things that you've come to know and love. So here we are looking at the landing page example on the right-hand side. The introduction is important. It has to be similar in the tone to your email body, I suppose, not too hard with the sales approach. You don't want to put people off in that way. So what I would do personally is I would keep it light, keep it relevant, keep it short critically. No one's going to read long website content. Testimonials are fantastic, as everyone knows. Knowing who and from which company people use your service or product is always going to be a win. So I would include a quote. I would include a name, a title if you can, job title if you can, definitely the business they're from, and if you are able to, if they consent, a little picture can't hurt. The landing page is a very important place for you to build FOMO and build urgency, and to communicate your countdown, to communicate your end date. FOMO is fear of missing out. The fear of missing out is big, it's real, and it scares people. So play on that. Make people know that if they don't act now, they're going to make a big mistake. That's what the message you want to give people. So put a countdown on the page and include a form to capture their details. In the comments, SecDubFlow has popped another question. Awesome. Love questions. Thanks, SecDubFlow. Landing pages have been the buzz for years now. But do they actually work for small companies or startups? You either just direct the cold email recipient to a blog page or the features page at most. I would say that it depends on your use case, SecDubFlow. in this example, you are using your landing page in order to get a bit more information about people, to get buy-in from people. The problem is about sending people to something like a blog page is you've got no real guarantee of interaction. So if they are going to have to put their details into your landing page in order to receive something from you, they've interacted and they have, as Gary Vee likes to say, put skin in the game, which basically means they've made an effort. Okay. It's fine to send them to your blog if that's the aim of your campaign is to promote your blog. It's fine to send them to your features page if the aim of your campaign is to just let people read your features. The problem is that that can be a little one-sided in that you're just sort of doing a process, but there's no secondary process. There's nothing to build on going forward. So I would rather use something like a landing page because you can make it worth their while. You can give gifts. You can do things that make it worth their while to put their details in there. But doing that extra step really gives you the opportunity to figure out how interested people really are. I mean, sure, you can look at your website analytics of how long they stayed on your blog and all that sort of thing. But using the tools that will show you which emails were opened, which were clicked, which were responded to, which bounced. This is going to help you, but then taking it a step further and being able to see who then went further from there and showed that extra level of interest to actually go to a link, put their details in. Now, the way I'm sure you're hearing in my tone, I'm making it sound like an effort, but I know to your mind and to every marketer's mind, we're so used to filling in forms online that it's 3 seconds effort for us. But you've got to think about the client. They are so bored. People don't want to fill in forms. So if they've gone ahead and done that, that is a big indication that you've been valuable and interesting to this point. So it's a good measure. It has a lot of benefits using a landing page. I know it has been a buzz for years. That's the problem, you see, because things become buzz, things become a little too silly. The nature of the world is that things will always go to one extreme or the other before falling into the middle, sort of a balance point. And this is what's happened with landing pages. A lot of people misused them. They've got a lot of bad press because of those garish, brightly colored, my book will help you drop 300 pounds in a week sort of landing pages that we're all used to, flashing lights and all sorts of things. You don't want to do that. You're a professional. You just want to give people the information they need, tell them what you're going to give them, what they'll get out of doing this process of filling in 3 boxes. And, if they're doing it from their mobile, it's probably going to fill it in for them anyway. Some people have their browsers set up on their mobile, on their laptops as well, like that. But realistically, landing pages are a good way to go, in my opinion. Let me know if you disagree, SigDubFlow, or anyone else who wants to weigh in. I love all the comments, absolutely. While I'm waiting for the comments, I'm going to go ahead into the data analysis section. Step number 5. So YAM is going to be the winning thing for you with your email campaign to really analyze what works. I mean, I mentioned a moment ago basically the sort of measures you're going to be using here, but YAM is going to give you all of that. So YAM gives you a tracking report. You do this, I'll show you how in the practical section, but YAM gives you a tracking report. You go into your Google Sheets where your database is, select add-ons, yet another mail merge, and open tracking report. There's an example of one on your screen here. This one is quite heavily cropped, as you can see, but it does give you a good example of what you are doing, what your campaigns are looking like. Over time, with your current one, it goes into quite a lot of detail. It shows you which emails were sent, which emails were opened, which emails were clicked on, the link that you included, which emails were responded to, which bounced. Shows you those 5 very important things. I'll show you more in the practical section. By analyzing that data on YAM, you're going to be able to figure out, like we said in the beginning, what works and what doesn't work then refocus on what did work and refine it. You adjust factors like look, if nobody's really responding to your campaign, there's 100 different reasons it can be. It could be your content, it could be everything, but it could be the people that you are focusing on. So try different sectors, geographies, different job titles. This is going to get you a bit of a broader scope. And I'm sure, as you're aware, even in your own company, there's some people who are more likely to respond to emails than others. So play around, see who those people are, and get it done that way. Okay, so also offer new incentives within the emails and the landing pages, and change the banners within the emails. This is important. You want to be relevant all the time. You want to be real, relevant, on point at all times. It's incredibly important. If you let this slip, the problem is people get bored, and like you were mentioning, Kathy, it comes across as very spammy. You're just saying the same thing month on month, year on year. People get bored. So obviously, your campaigns need to change. You need to have something fresh to offer all the time. So your emails, your landing pages, your banners need to reflect that as well. So before I get into the GoPinLeads hacks, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you the practical aspects of what I'm talking about here today. So the first thing that I would love to show you is the GoPinLeads system. So where to find GoPinLeads, how to find GoPinLeads, and how to use it. So there's different versions of GoPinLeads. You've got the web app. You've also got the Chrome extension. So this is the web app. What you want to do is go ahead and sign into the web app, and that'll allow you to get all the leads that you want. Remember, this is our lead gen tool that we've put together to make sure that you can get all the leads that you need when you need them really quickly, really easily. And as you've just seen there, the sign-in process is really simple, and to use the tool is similarly really, really easy. So here I'm going to do a very, very quick search for libraries, and I'm going to look in London, UK. So when I put in London, you'll see it drops down with some suggestions. Click on one of them. It'll make sure that you're getting the right location. That'll load through to the next page. So here we have the next page. Why would you look for libraries, Jeff? Well, some companies need to target libraries specifically, and this is how they would do it. So you've got your leads. Click on Add Businesses. This pulls you through to the next page where the actual leads are, the people that you've asked the tool to find. I like to select all because I want all of these leads, and then I'm going to press Add the leads. So when I do this, it says these leads will be emailed through to you. It's remembered my email address from my sign-in, and I can export these businesses and leads. Super easy. It says it can take 10 minutes to reach me, but I'll show you it's much quicker than that. This is what the tool looks like in the Chrome Web Store. You can see that I've already added it to my Chrome. So what you want to do here is you want to add it, and when you have added it, you go to Google Maps. When you go to Google Maps, you can do a search similarly to what we've done, and then use the Chrome extension to get those leads. So I'm going to be doing a search today for bars, and I'm going to be looking in Brighton. Bars near Brighton, UK. Click on the option I asked for, and this pops up the results, which is great. As with Google Maps, you can scroll around redefine by pressing search this area. All the usual functions of Google Maps, but with the added benefit of opening up the GoPinLeads Chrome extension and getting all the leads that you've ever wanted. So here you can see it's pulled the leads through for me. Really quick, really easy. 20 results, super fast. I've gone to select all, and once again, as with the web app, the process is the same. Click on add. Then it'll bring you through to the next page with the leads. I'm going to select all. Do remember though, if you don't want some of them, you can deselect, or you can just select the ones you do want. You'll only be credited for the ones that you have asked for if you are on the paid plan. Here you can see 33 results selected. I'm going to go ahead and add the leads, and it says 53 leads will be emailed to you. That's fantastic. I don't need these results right now, but I'll show you how it comes through using the other list. So that is the Google Chrome extension. And that's how you're going to find your leads. Really quick, really easy. So let's have a look at how that comes through in your email inbox. You're going to get an email that is going to look like this. Here you can see it says GoPinLeads. Hi there. The subject will be GoPinLeads libraries, because that's what our search was for. And you can look at your watch. It's been way less than 10 minutes. This is a really fast tool. So download the results or view in Google Sheets. Poke it. It'll download the results for you. Super quick, super easy. No worries there. Or like I prefer to do, open it in Google Sheets. Doing this will give you a really good way to go, because what you get then is the whole spectrum of your leads, all of your results in Google Sheets. So you need to do something before you can use this. Very simply, all you need to do is you need to go to File, make a copy, name it anything that you like, and press OK. This will open a new version. Go ahead and close the old one that is on our server. And now you've created a version that you can edit on your own Google Drive. So your database, you'll see that I deleted the top row to make sure that the yellow bar, business name, address, phone number, is in the first row. You'll see you've got different tabs: businesses, leads, leads with no names. On the businesses tab, you have business details, business names, brick and mortar addresses, telephone numbers, locations, URLs, and social media where they have them. On your leads tab, you have first names, last names, business names, job titles, email addresses, and social media details. You also have a lot more. If you scroll along, you've got brick and mortar address, website, URL, and company phone number. Your leads with no name, this is an incredibly helpful tab as well. These are leads that haven't got a first name listed, but we found the email anyway. You can sometimes, like with the first few here, extrapolate what the names most likely are, but sometimes you can't. In this case, I'll show you what to do in just a moment. Using GoPinLeads in this manner is really quick, really simple, and makes your life a hell of a lot easier with your lead finding. So let's have a look now at our drafts. So you want your drafts to be as accurate, as useful as possible. I'm going to show you a good example of the first name type draft. And your first name type draft you'll be using with your leads tab. And your leads tab, if you remember, has the first name in it. You'll see in the first section here, it says first name. So very simply, in your email, you want to include first name, but include these brackets as well. They're the curved ones that are a shift key away from your square bracket. So this is my email body. This is not an email content that you should be using. This is just because I'm going to be sending this email through to my colleagues to show you how YAM works. So ignore the content there that's in the email. You'll have your own dynamic content that you use, and that is going to then be able to action this through to the list of people that you want to contact. So obviously, I don't want to contact these poor unsuspecting librarians just for the sake of a webinar. So I'm going to be using a database that I've prepared beforehand. And this is going to allow me to really get to show you everything that YAM does without unnecessarily bothering people who don't necessarily need it. So this is what my pre-prepared database looks like. You can see that it still has an email address, it has first names, it has family names, it has everything I need to send my emails out. YAM's going to look at my first name field and include that in what I'm sending out. Let's have a look at the email addresses I've used. Here you can see that I've made one invalid, and I'm expecting that to bounce to show you what happens when things do bounce. So to access YAM, go to Add-ons from Google Sheets and yet another mail merge. When you do this, it'll allow you to access your drafts. So click it. YAM will work in the background and start that connection up. Very useful, very quick. It really is a dream to use. So I would say just wait for that to load through. And while you do that, go ahead and take a real close look at your draft. Okay, so your draft, you want to make sure that it is saying first name, because remember, we want to use the first name field. And then also make sure that you know what the subject line is that you've chosen. Webinar example draft in this case. And you want to find them here. Webinar example draft. So I've selected webinar example draft, which matches the name of my draft here. And that's going to allow me to send this to my list. But first, I'm going to send a test email to myself to make sure that I've got the first name merge field right. The way I'm going to check this is to go to my email inbox. And in my email inbox, I should have my test email, and here it is. And you can see it's replaced first name with the first name in my database, which happens to be mine, but it will always use the first name in your database. Now I'm going to send these 5 emails because I know it's going to work. I know it's going to merge the names in. It's going to be fine. So I send it off. YAM says that all the emails have been sent. People are going to start receiving those straight away, and it's going to start telling me about what was opened, what was read, what links were clicked. I don't have a link in my email, but it will show me what bounced. So first of all, you can see that the email address that I invalidated has indeed bounced as expected, which is fantastic. YAM shows you straight away when things bounce. It's a really good way to make sure that it's all very clear. So then also you can see that one of the people have opened the email. That's absolutely awesome. And if people click a link in your email, you'll also see that in your results. It's very helpful. It's a very powerful way to see everything that's going on in your campaign in real time. And as you can see, this happened very fast. So the next step is to understand what happens. Like I said earlier, if your tracking report on the side disappears, go to add-ons, yet another mail merge, and open tracking report. It'll work for a second or two, and then it'll open your tracking report on the right-hand side of your screen, and you'll be able to see what you need to see. All of your details will be recorded there. All right. So that's how you can find leads and email them really easily, really fast, and get the results you need. Now, we did cover the possibility of you using another version of this. Remember, we talked about this list here where we had no names. We only had business names. So then we use our business name draft, and that is going to look like this. So if you had in here, instead of first name, if you had business name instead, you would have business name instead of first name. In your email draft body, very simple, very quick change. It's really easy to do. No worries there. Okay, so let's move forward. I mentioned to you using landing pages is a good way to go. This is an example of a landing page. It's LaunchRock. It is very good way to go. It gives you all of the functionality you need in order to build up your landing page and to give you all of the results that you're after. So before I close this webinar today, I would love to go through some hacks for GoPinLeads with you that are going to make your life a lot easier. And then I'm going to touch also on some GDPR. If you have any questions, please do drop me a comment in the YouTube window. These hacks, I'm going to show you a couple of them that I can show you live. I'll show you live, and the others we'll talk about. So for GoPinLeads hacks, get even more accurate results. The first one, subtract irrelevant leads. Use the subtract prefix to remove keywords you don't want. I'll show you right now how to do this. So I'm going to go ahead to the web app for this example, and I'm going to do a search real quick, and I'm going to do it for social media agencies, and I'm going to look in London, UK. So looking in London, UK for social media agencies, that's going to pull through to the next page. As before, I'm going to say select all. I've got all the leads I need. Remember, when available, press load more. Load more will make sure you're getting all of the leads you can. It'll pan about and make sure that you get everything you need. Do that till you can't do it anymore. And then I'm going to press Add Businesses to go through to the next page. On the next page, you might have noticed the first time round, you've got the search filter box where you can search by city, country, job titles, and the like. Now, I've asked for social media agencies, but just to be otherwise, I'm going to remove any of them that use content as a keyword. And that is going to show you what difference this makes. It removes anyone that has content related to them from your results. You can do this in the web app as well. So let's use our results for bars near Brighton. We'll open up the Chrome extension once again. Select the leads that we want, add the businesses through. And once again, we have our search filter box. I'm going to remove anybody here that has wine as a keyword, and that's going to update it for me immediately. You can also add in positive keywords using an absence of a minus. That will limit it severely. Bear that in mind. They have to specifically have that word in their keywords or in their title or in their name. It has to be there. Okay. Very easy to remove as well. Some more hacks for you. Number 2, use your reviews. Niche searches work best using the Google Maps and GoPinLeads Chrome extension combination because it includes reviews, and that helps you with accuracy. Number 3, hotels and accommodation. These are best found using the web app. The reason is that Google, through Google Maps, has changed which establishments are available, which come up first. This is based on some form of monetization, I believe, but if you use the web app, you can get around that. Number 4, city discrepancies. I'm sorry for the stutter. So here's a fix if you are finding leads that are not from the same city. Add the city name again in the filter box text alongside the country name. Let's have a look at what we're talking about there. So here we have, once again, our filter box. If we're getting results in here from people that are outside London, I don't see any at the moment. These are all London's SW postcode. So what I'm going to do is show you anyway. If I wanted to reiterate only London, like we did in the previous example with the bars, you type it in to your search filter box. This works on the Chrome extension, this works on the web app, and it'll make sure that your filter is completely reset to only have London. You can go more specific if you want to, but remember, the more specific you go, the less information it's going to give you. So if you wanted only results from Holborn in London, then you would insert Holborn, and it would only give you Holborn. So that's how it would work. Please do pop any questions that you have right now into the comments section, and I will be really over the moon to answer any and all of those for you. But I wanted to say thank you. This is the end of our webinar. This is how you can contact me. I'm also going to put a link to it in the comments. My email address, email, book a call, links provided in the comments for you, like I promised. So here we go. I'm going to start dropping all of these into the comments for you now. Thank you for sticking about to the end. It's really been great to have you all here with me today. And it's going to be a really good way for you to move forward. So the first email address that I'm going to give you is my email address, and this is how you can contact me anytime you need to. That's in the comments section right now. Also, I'm going to give you all of the links to everything that we've been talking about today so that you can get all of the information that you need. See that I need to put my email address in then again. And we've got a comment here. What's the deal with Goodman Lantern versus GoPinLeads? Is Goodman Lantern the parent company? Sick dub flow? Absolutely right. That is exactly what it is. GoPinLeads was born from Goodman Lantern. So that is why you'll see jeff.a@goodmanlantern.com in my email. So let's also give you some more stuff to use. This is going to make your life a lot easier, and it's going to make sure that you get everything that you need. So I'm going to start giving you all of the lists that you need to be successful with our approach. The first one that I'm going to give you is the link to our Goodman Lantern GoPinLeads, as you pointed out, sick dub flow. I'm going to be giving you the link through to how you can find GoPinLeads online. So this is the link for the Chrome extension, and this is going to make sure that you're able to use the Chrome extension like you saw me do in the example. The next one I'm going to give you is the GoPinLeads web app. The web app is the one that's going to be the biggest win for you for hotels, like I mentioned in the little hacks portion. Then I'm also going to give you the URLs for YAM and for LaunchRock. So these two are the tools that I mentioned earlier as well. Those are going to be very helpful for you. YAM is going to measure everything. LaunchRock is going to make sure that you have your landing page sorted out. Here I'm going to give you the Sales, Leads, and Pro Content Facebook community group that is ours at Goodman Lantern. And that's a great place for you to go if you need help with your email content. The community is very active. Our team is all there. Ask questions, start topics, post your pictures, post your videos, and start a conversation. We're always there for you, and we're always ready to talk. So the last thing that I'm going to give you is I'm going to give you a link where you can go ahead and book a call with me if you need to have anything discussed, if you want to go over things in a bit more of a fine fashion, or if you need some advice, insights, or just want to touch bases with me, go ahead and book a call. I want you to all feel super welcome to do this, and I will definitely respond to each and every one of you who send me your email, book a call with me. It'll be a great one, and I look forward to seeing and hearing from all of you. It's been a great webinar. Thank you for the interaction. It's been really great. Cheerio. Sound video, very nice. Thank you. I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. Sick dub flow. Very nice to have you here today. Kathy, also great to have you here. Jean Carlos Alonso, fantastic. Awesome here from the beginning. And our chief lantern, Raj himself, in full effect in the comments. I've been Jeff, Customer Success Manager at GoPinLeads. Contact me if you need anything, anytime.